Welcome to the Bare Metals Cyber Security Plus podcast. This series helps you prepare for the CompTIA Security Plus exam with focused explanations and practical context. For a companion study guide, check out the Achieve CompTIA Security Plus 701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. It is the most concise and complete Security Plus guide on the market, built for busy professionals who want to pass the exam fast and on their first try. You can find this book and others at cyberauthor.me. Risk management is one of the most fundamental concepts in cybersecurity governance. No organization can protect everything all the time with unlimited resources. That is why security decisions must be based on an understanding of risk, what could go wrong, how likely it is to happen, and what the impact would be. In this episode, we begin our exploration of the risk management process with two foundational topics: risk identification and the importance of managing risk systematically. Let's start with risk identification. Before you can manage risk, you have to know what the risks are. This means identifying anything that could negatively impact the organization's operations, data, reputation, or customers. Risks can come from many sources: technical weaknesses, human behavior, third-party vendors, physical threats, and even geopolitical or regulatory changes. Risk identification is the process of recognizing these threats and documenting them in a way that allows for analysis and response. There are several techniques for identifying risks effectively. One of the most common is the use of interviews or surveys with subject matter experts. This approach taps into the knowledge of people who understand the systems, processes, or departments under review. By asking the right questions, such as what could go wrong, what has gone wrong in the past, and what changes are on the horizon, organizations can uncover risks that might not be obvious from a technical audit alone. Another technique is reviewing historical incidents. By studying past breaches, service outages, or compliance failures, organizations can identify patterns and recurring vulnerabilities. This can be done using internal incident logs or industry reports. For example, if an organization has experienced multiple phishing attacks that bypass email filters, it may identify a risk related to user awareness or lack of multi-factor authentication. Technical tools also support risk identification. Vulnerability scanners, penetration tests, and configuration audits can expose system weaknesses that represent potential risks. External threat intelligence feeds provide insights into emerging threats targeting similar organizations or sectors. When combined with business impact data, these findings help prioritize the risks that matter most. Let's consider a real-world example. A regional credit union wanted to improve its cybersecurity posture, but did not know where to start. It began with a risk identification process involving employee interviews, third-party assessments, and a review of recent cyber incidents. This process revealed that many employees reused passwords across personal and professional accounts. The credit union also discovered that backup systems had not been tested in over a year. These findings led to a deeper analysis and eventually to a complete overhaul of password policies and disaster recovery procedures. Without a thorough identification phase, these risks would have remained hidden until something went wrong. Risk identification should be ongoing, not a one-time event. Technology changes, new threats emerge, and organizations evolve. That means new risks appear all the time. By embedding risk identification into business processes such as change management, project planning, and procurement, organizations stay ahead of potential problems rather than reacting to them after damage has occurred. Now let's talk about the importance of risk management. Identifying risks is only the beginning. Organizations must also evaluate those risks, decide how to handle them, and implement the necessary controls. Risk management provides a structured process for making those decisions consistently and transparently. The goal is not to eliminate all risk, that would be impossible, but to manage risk in a way that supports the organization's goals and protects its critical assets. Systematic risk management provides many benefits. First, it allows organizations to allocate resources more effectively. Instead of spreading budget and staff time evenly across all systems, risk management helps target high-impact areas. For example, if a system contains sensitive customer data and faces constant attack attempts, it might receive more monitoring and tighter controls than a less critical internal tool. Second, risk management improves accountability. When risks are formally identified, documented, and assigned to specific owners, it becomes clear who is responsible for addressing each issue. This prevents gaps in coverage and supports better communication between departments, especially between technical and executive teams. It also provides evidence for auditors, regulators, and insurers that the organization takes its responsibilities seriously. Third, risk management enhances decision-making. Leaders must often choose between competing priorities. Should the company invest in a new security tool or expand network capacity? Should it accept a delay in deployment to fix a known bug or move forward and monitor it later? Risk management provides the data needed to make these trade-offs intelligently, rather than relying on gut instinct or political influence. Let's look at a case study. A mid-size e-commerce company was growing rapidly and adding new cloud services but had no formal risk management program. A sudden outage at one of its third-party providers caused a major disruption in order processing. During the post-mortem, executives realized that they had never assessed the risk of relying too heavily on a single cloud vendor. In response, the company implemented a structured risk management process and began mapping out dependencies, assigning risk owners, and developing contingency plans. 6 months later, when a different provider experienced a data breach, the company was able to switch services and avoid exposing customer data. The risk management process did not prevent all disruptions, but it gave the company options and time to act. Another example involves a university system that conducted a risk assessment before launching a new online learning platform. The assessment identified several risks, including data privacy concerns, potential denial of service attacks, and user authentication challenges. The project team used this information to redesign login processes, encrypt student records, and establish a partnership with a distributed denial of service mitigation provider. As a result, the rollout went smoothly, and the university avoided problems that had plagued similar efforts at other institutions. The success was directly tied to the use of structured risk identification and management. From a governance perspective, risk management also supports compliance. Many regulatory frameworks require organizations to identify and mitigate risks as part of their obligations. This includes documenting decisions, reviewing risks regularly, and demonstrating that appropriate safeguards are in place. Without a risk management process, organizations are not only more vulnerable, they are also more exposed to legal and financial consequences. As you prepare for the Security Plus exam, make sure you understand the key components of the risk management lifecycle. This includes risk identification, assessment, analysis, response planning, mitigation, and monitoring. Be ready to identify which phase a scenario describes and what the appropriate next step should be. Pay attention to how different tools and techniques support each stage. Here is a tip for this section of the exam. If a question asks what should happen first in a risk management process, the answer is usually risk identification. You cannot assess, analyze, or mitigate a risk you have not discovered yet. If the question asks how an organization discovered a vulnerability after an attack, that means the risk identification process was incomplete or missing. Think sequentially and logically when working through these kinds of questions. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.